A conceptual understanding is not enough. Posted on May 19th, 2011. The mind can understand the truth, but that's only the starting point. It's not enough to just get a conceptual understanding of the truth. Even the deepest insights come and go, and if they don't create a movement within you to start letting go of the personal will, then they have not served any real purpose. When you deeply see the truth, there is no separate self, that there is no me. It immediately follows that you start letting go of this me that you so strongly believed in. Only this movement can take you towards liberation. No insights or understandings can free you unless this movement takes over. Don't become a feel-good junkie. When you are on the path of seeking the truth, it feels extremely blissful to get an understanding of the truth. Awakening experiences are particularly enticing because they feel great. Deep insights about the truth can come to you through grace and leave you in a state of awe. The mind enjoys getting these insights and understandings. The mind is thirsty for the truth, and it relishes the feeling of getting it. The problem is that one can become addicted to this good feeling experience and make that their primary agenda. There are many feel-good junkies in the spiritual circle. Maybe you are one of them. There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel good, and there's certainly a time and place for realizations and insights. However, if you get stuck in this realm, then you just become a prisoner to the path and lose track of the whole purpose of starting on this path towards truth. The purpose of the path is to take you to the end, not to set camp in the middle of it. Unfortunately, the path has many attractions that can keep the mind occupied. People engage in meditations, therapies, satsangs, groups, and even spiritual travel, and all of this can become addictive if one is not careful. There are so many CDs, DVDs, and books available now on the subject of enlightenment and liberation that one can make it into a hobby. The mind enjoys interesting insights and can become quite an addict to all these paraphernalia of spirituality. Once you see the truth deeply enough, it's time to move on to the next step, which is to start letting go into the truth that you realized. If you don't dive into the truth, you will end up dancing around it for the rest of your life. You have to jump into the fire to be consumed completely, so that only the real remains. It's fun to dance around the fire, but it won't be long before the dance becomes an addiction. All addictions eventually lead to suffering and more delusion. Moving from realization to embodiment. Adyashanti, a radical spiritual teacher, points out beautifully that unless you embody your realization, it's just a concept in your mind. Truth is not something that adds to the knowledge of the mind. On the contrary, when truth is taken far enough, it usually robs the mind of all its beliefs and delusions. Anyone who is truly moved by the impulse to be completely free will never be satisfied with anything less than the promised end of no suffering. Until you are truly free of suffering, you will have not really embodied the truth. When there's no me, there's no suffering. But to be in this place, one has to allow the me to burn away completely in the fire of the truth. One has to be willing to undergo this transition of dissolving the me and allowing the true nature of being to shine through. Dissociation from the mind's opinions, projections, and perceptions is the start of this transition. This process gathers momentum as the magnetic pull of the mind lessens in intensity, poisoned by the dissociation of attention from it. The personal will is nothing but the force created by the conditioning of the me, and this force has a lot of momentum to it. Letting go the personal will can be the toughest experience for a human being, especially when one is not willing to let go of control. Embodiment of truth above everything else is the only motivation that can get you to undertake this process. This transition is not an easy one, and it can create stark fear in the mind because it's like letting go into the unknown. There is no getting around it, however, and this process needs to happen before the end can be reached, where there's no personal will, but just the movement of life itself. It's only on the other side that the experience of liberation is complete.